Hello, and welcome to the Shoot, Reload, Repeat podcast. I am your host, Calvin, aka Practical as Buck, and I am sitting down today with my lovely co-host, Charles, aka Dad.
Howdy.
So we haven't recorded an episode in a while. We recorded one, I guess, last week, but we didn't really like it. Quality wasn't up to par. So we decided, you know what? We'll sit down and we'll just record it. We got a couple questions, and I put out for questions. I'm a little disappointed, though, because last time we put out for questions, we got a lot of questions. And this time I put out and I didn't get very many. So I'm a little disappointed with that. But we do have a couple questions. It's been a minute since we recorded. So me and you shot a couple matches. We shot a match together that was pretty good. Wasn't a whole lot of people there, which was kind of nice, but it also kind of sucked because we had to clean everything up. But we and you have been talking about, and we can kind of talk about this a little bit, about gun modifications and some things that we're doing to our firearms. So why don't you kind of talk about what you're going to do and why you're doing it?
Well, it's time to start making mine semi-Gucci. I've been old school, but ordered a new recoil spring. Is that what it is, recoil spring?
Yeah, so you bought a Gen 3 recoil spring and
13 pound.
13 pound. So
and I went the black adapter. I didn't go with the other one. I'm still old school.
You can't, but yeah, I guess my barrel's kind of silver. It kind of matches. It looks nice.
Yeah, I know. But if you're looking at that end, I don't care. I don't think anybody's going to really be trying to admire it. But
that's true. I want the paper targets to be happy when I shoot them. That's how you shoot more alphas. If your gun looks good, then you shoot more alphas.
And then I ordered a new trigger.
Yeah, so I bought a trigger off a dude on TaxSwap. If you don't know what TaxSwap is, it's kind of like eBay for gun stuff. People like private sellers selling guns and all kinds of stuff. And this guy had this Agency Armed Syndicate trigger with this, like, you know, the flat trigger face with the trigger bar. And I think I bought it for like $40.
Really?
I got it. I got it cheap, dude. And I got
used?
it. I think he bought it for like a Polymer 80.
Oh, okay.
But so he sold it to me. I put it in. I got it right here. So let's just listen to this nice crispness. And then our reset. I love this trigger. It's flat faced. I haven't shot it yet. So I'm probably going to go practice on a little bit on Saturday. And then Sunday, I'm going to go shoot a match with it. I'm going to make sure it functions. But I like the flat face of it. What I really like about it is the safety on it. The trigger safety depresses flat. Like with a Glock one, you kind of, if you shoot a Glock for a while, you kind of get like a little callus on your shooting finger, on your trigger finger. And it kind of indexes flat. And it, you know, I don't know. I think it's nice. So we're going to go out. I'm going to shoot it. You kind of went with the same trigger. The best part about the Glock triggers is they're super easy to swap out. Like everything on the Glock, super low maintenance, really easy. Like anybody with a punch set and YouTube can do it. So
you're going to ask me how much mine costs?
Yours cost $60.
More than that.
What did you pay for it?
$80.
Where'd you buy it from?
Midway.
Oh, I mean, it's a good trigger. And I think if you end up not liking it, I think people will buy it. Like you could sell it, somebody will buy it. So
I got you. And mine doesn't have somebody else's boogers on it.
Yeah, I mean, when I got this thing, it was pretty flawless. Like when I took apart my trigger assembly, I had to like clean my gun because I haven't really cleaned it since my last match. So it was pretty nasty. And shooting in the tight group's not the cleanest stuff. So, but I like it, and it seems like you kind of want to race gun out your Glock, which is, it's nice. I mean, it doesn't make a big difference, but it's kind of nice. It gives you a little bit, helps you out a little bit here and there. So
I think the lighter recoil spring will help me too, since I'm dropping my loads down a little bit.
Yeah, I when I shot the factory recoil spring, I felt like I was having to wait. I felt like it was really slow because I guess the factory spring is real heavy, like 17 pounds.
Right.
So I've liked this little 13. So my dot reciprocates fast. It goes back really quick, and I like it. So now I'm not saying as soon as you get your gun, you should just go and mod it out. Like I've done mine slowly. Like so I got my grip work done last year during Thanksgiving. Over Christmas break last year, I got my slide milled. I got some weight taken off it, some serrations. And I also got it cut for my optic. And then now I just got a trigger. So I think where this gun is at now, um, is where I want it. NAF Solutions does my grip work. If you go and follow me on Instagram, you've seen it. He's a real nice guy. I'm trying to get him to, kind of be a part of like a sponsor of the show. So go check him out. Tell him that Shoot Reload Repeat podcast sent you. He does really good work. And so when I get my second Glock 17, I'm gonna send it to him so that way he can do it up right. So.
Something else I noticed difference about mine and your guns is you do not run the backstrap.
No, I kind of quit running it, and so when he did my grip work, I wanted to keep the finger grooves, but he took it off, and I really kind of like the Glock without the finger grooves. I've held a grip like a Gen 5 Glock without the finger grooves, and I like it. He also can do a grip reduction, so if you have smaller hands, you he can do a grip reduction. I've also seen where when he does a grip reduction, he'll take some of like if you ever know on the Glock, the bottom of the grip kind of is like this humpy shape, and he can shave that off and make it more of a up and down 90-degree type angle.
Okay.
So when I send it to him, I might have him do it and just see how it feels. I'm gonna send it back to him after I shoot Area 59 Championship and have him re-stipple it. Maybe I'll have him do that too, and just gonna test it out. So that's the next modification you should do later on is get your gun stippled. You just have to be without it for a while. It's the hard part.
Can you tell me what the advantage is of having it stippled?
For me, I think it just provides more grip. Now mine is kind of worn down because I do a lot of dry fire and I've done a lot of shooting with it. I've had it probably stippled for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in February. It just gives you a better grip. People that buy like 1911s, they have real aggressive grips. So it just helps you, to hold onto the gun. I know we're not shooting like super major power factor stuff, but it really, well, you are. I'm not.
I'm not anymore.
I don't even really think you were shooting major power factor because your goddamn bullet only weighed 100 grains. But I think it just helps with the grip. What's cool, like with the Glock, he put stabilizer cuts, and I think his stabilizer cuts are a little deeper, so they're towards the front of the gun, kind of in this like weird little patch of polymer, and he cuts like these shelves where you can put your thumb and rest your thumb. These stabilizer cuts are a little narrow, but I think his now are pretty deep, and you can really get a good hold on the gun. So I like the stippling, and it makes the gun look cool too. So it makes it look kind of custom. So
See, mine, I run the large backstrap on mine.
see, so when you send it to him, if you run the large backstrap, he can stipple the backstrap into. When he stipples it, he can like pretty much when he stipples it, it'll just stay in there and it'll be permanent.
I gotcha.
And I didn't want that. I had him stipple one of the back straps, but I like my gun without the backstrap now. So maybe maybe I'll talk to him and you can send him your gun and he can do some work for you.
Okay, because I have to run the big back strap on mine, so my finger's on the trigger where I need it.
Yeah, I like it. So he's a good dude. Check him out. So like I was saying, guys, when you first start out, just. And I think my real good friend, Mr. Kennedy from Alter Performance said it, he doesn't want to just jump in and trick out his gun. He kind of wants to earn it. So he has goals for himself. Once he reaches a goal, he's going to do this or put a dot. And I can respect that. Because, if you just go out and buy all the Gucci stuff and you still suck, you're still going to suck with all the Gucci stuff. So it's just, it's like PCC guys. Like they go out and spend $3,000 on a freaking PCC rifle and it jams all the time, or they whine about hard leans. So I kind of agree with that. So, and of course you got to do what's in your budget. So that's one reason why I still shoot a Glock, because I got it a long time ago and knock on wood, so it works for me, and it's really easy to easy on maintenance and easy on parts, and mags are easy to find, everything like that. So I'm working on getting a second one, like as a backup. So if you're selling a Glock 17, hit me up on IG. So or shoot me an email, whatever. All right. So is there anything you want to add? We have a couple questions, so I thought we could maybe answer our questions.
Sure, let's answer some questions.
Okay, so let me pull it up because I gotta find it because it's been a minute.
Here's the first one. What tips and tricks can you give on switching to carry optics? Any specific live or dry fire drills that you have used to help you shoot a dot better?
So
That's from Mark Romeo.
yes, thank you, Mr. Romeo, for giving us a question. So when I switched to carry optics in like it's late May, early June, I just dry fired every day. I worked a lot of just draws and transitions because with the dot, you only have one point of aim, so you kind of find yourself where you are searching for the dot. And so I really wanted to be able to draw the gun, index, and find the dot. And now even now that I haven't really shot or dry fired, I can draw the gun and I can have that dot right where I want it. So I would just work draws, transitions. Once you start getting that dot, then you can start working on, you know, transitioning and splitting the trigger. When you go and you shoot like live fire drills, I would just shoot the same live fire drills you already shoot, but try to be more target focused and not so dot focused. That was my biggest thing is I was always so used to looking at my front sight instead of looking at the target. And so now I just look at the target and the dot just appears on the target where I want it. So I would just sit there, man, and dry fire. I would try to dry fire every day, even if it's like 5 or 10 minutes, because you'll get that index. You'll kind of figure out how you need to grip the gun, um, how hard you need to grip the gun. Because with the dot, everything's over exaggerated. So like if I grip the gun too hard, the dot is going to move. So you really got to work on just getting the dot, finding the dot, and it'll come to you. Because with iron sights,
Iron.
I can't talk today. The you don't really notice when you have a bad sight picture, right? You kind of get used to it. Same things with the dot. So with the dot, you might not like you might have that dot a little high, a little low. So just practicing, indexing, finding your dot. That's what I would work on, man. So that's all I really got. You can't really answer that quick. You shot my pistol a couple times, right?
Just once.
Did you like
I,
shooting in the
I
dot?
didn't I didn't shoot it enough to really see. I remember that was the day we were experimenting with ammunition.
Yeah,
I
I
was
think
more worried
you would.
about ammunition than concentrating on the dot.
I think you would like it. It's fun. It's you can go a little like you can like when you shoot distance targets, it's a little bit easier because then you're just taking that dot, putting the dot, nice easy trigger squeeze, and that's it. So I like shooting the dot. It's fun. I'm glad I transitioned to it.
I may get there. I may get there.
It's a little more like I always have batteries on hand. I'm working on getting another red dot to have as a backup. That's why I want to build a second gun. That way I have a second gun for major matches. But I would definitely switch to it, jump to it. All right. So our answer is so Mark Romeo had two questions in his comment. He says, oh no, never mind. I'm sorry, that's James Tate. So James Tate, he said thoughts on division jumping, changing, switching gear, learning bad habits for switching each gun. So this is I kind of feel like this question has multiple answers. So let's just talk about switching divisions and why you might want to switch a division. Because both of us switched divisions. You shot production. We both each shot a max production, and then you started shooting limited, and I shot limited for a while, and then now I'm shooting carry optics. So what do you think about division jumping, like jumping between divisions?
Well, I think everybody that's starting out, I think they always go production, and after you do two or three of those, you figure out, man, why am I doing this? You know, uh, unless you just really want to practice reloading all the time. And I don't know. I think it's a good deal, and also, I think it might keep you from getting burned out a little bit. You know, say like you're really trucking along and you think you might have hit a wall. Maybe if you go back to doing something else, like like you went limited and you went back to or went to carry optics, I think one of these days you probably get bored and try to go back carry optic. I mean, limited again. Just see how you do.
Yeah, I agree with that. I know some dudes that'll shoot and like some of the guys on the bigger podcast kind of talk about like in the wintertime in their off season, they'll shoot like single stack or they'll shoot production or they'll shoot open. They'll kind of they'll change up their just change up what they shoot because if you dry fire a lot, you're dry firing, you're training a lot. Sometimes shooting the same gun, the same type of ammunition, same holster and all that kind of stuff, can just burn you out. So I've always kind of thought about maybe shooting like a low cap division, like maybe production. I think shooting production would be kind of cool. Just because it's a different mindset. You're having to reload more. Your stage planning is different. I think in the last episode, the first one we recorded, you talked about shooting. We talked about you shooting single stack in 45,
Right.
just getting more mags, and because it's just different, change it up a little bit. I also think it's a good idea to switch division. So like you shooting, like I was shooting limited, and I was trying to be a little bit more competitive, and I was shooting minor. So I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna go and I am gonna shoot carry optics because everyone shoots minor and carry optics, and so I'll have at least that'll be an advantage for me. Everyone's on the same scoring field. Everyone's scoring is exactly the same. So
I agree. But yeah, I do want to try uh, single stack. That
yes,
that that's my goal after I move up a little bit and limited is maybe do that one match just for grins.
and it would be really cool, like to have multiple classifications, like to be like a GM and carry optics, a GM and carry and single stack limited. I know there's guys that are like multiple division GMs and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. I think that would be awesome. Now, if you're a GM in PCC, nobody cares. Like being a GM in PCC is kind of like being a marksman, expert marksman in IDPA. It doesn't really count. No one cares. Anyway, other
That
than
$5 will get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks.
yeah, I don't know. Nobody cares. Um, so he also talked about the gear. So and building bad habits. So I don't really think like the gear doesn't matter all that much, like changing gear, unless you're shooting like single stack. Like say you go from open to shooting single stack. Well, you're gonna have to reload more. You're gonna have to like get used to loading off different parts of your belt. So I think that might be difficult.
And if you, and I think we talked about on the deleted episode that if you got some bad habits with iron sights, it's going to magnify it with carry optics.
Yeah, like if you're gonna go, if you kind of suck at shooting a dot, if you suck at shooting iron sights, and then you go, if you think putting a dot on your gun is just gonna fix everything, it's not because whether it's your grip or your trigger control or whatever it is, it's still gonna be there, and it might even discourage you even more because if you really slap that trigger, that dot is gonna move. Now, to play devil's advocate for that, it could actually help you because if you're like, holy crap, every time I pull this trigger, that dot is jiggling, is moving around, dancing around, and that's why I'm getting misses at distance. So switching can also kind of might show you your problems too. Because if you're shooting 35-yard shots and you're always missing, and then you put a dot, and when you see that dot moving around all over the place, you might think, oh, well, maybe that's the problem. So I agree. If you already have bad habits, it might. The only bad habit I could really see would be maybe like if you're used to with like reloading with like a mag well, like in limited or open, and then you go to carry optics production single stack where you don't have that. That could be a problem too, because like you're used to just slamming that mag home. Doesn't matter really where the mag is at. So that might be not a bad habit. It might just be a skill that you'll have to work on. So
That's a good point. Yeah, that's interesting because, that's one thing I've noticed that I don't have any issues with is getting my mag in the gun when I'm changing, and I don't run a mag well, So,
well, I
but
used to
that
run
is
that.
right,
I
huh?
ran that. I ran that big ass Dawson Ice mag well, and you could just slam the magazines in there, and they would go in. And then when I went to carry optics, I had to I think I spent 3 days every week working on reloads because I was just missing the reloads because that Dawson Ice magwell was huge, and then I had to reload to the magwell that's stock on the Glock. So I think it's a good thing to think about if you want to switch divisions. I'm perfectly okay with people switching divisions. I think it's good. Keeps people from getting burnt out and keeps people from leaving the sport, and we need people in the sport. So,
Or you shoot PCC.
or you can just have no self-respect and shoot PCC. Whatever you want to do, man. Hey, it's a free country. Do what you want to do. It's 2019. I'm not going to judge you. Not at least
No,
not to your face.
this is
Uh,
a no judge zone.
yeah, this is like Planet Fitness. It's judgment free.
Yes.
All right. So James Tate had another question. He said, I know you have before, but explain the difference in classing up through shooting classifiers versus match bumps. So I am not the end-all, be-all expert of the USPSA classification system. In fact, I still kind of don't understand it today, but this is my understanding. So if I am wrong, just people on the internet correct me. I know you will. So from what I understand is that with USPSA, there's two ways that you can class up. So you can class up using classifiers, which you shoot at matches, or if you go to a level 2, or it might even just be a level 3, higher than a local match, and you either win your division or you win high overall, or if you place higher than your division, then you will get a match bump. So let's say in November, when I go to my first big major match, Area 59 Championship, let's say I win C class, right? So if I win C class, there's a good chance I could possibly get a match bump and be moved to B class. That is how I understand it. Now, could I be wrong? Yes. Now, a match bump is a little bit faster than in the actual classification because I think you need 6 classifiers to be classified. So if you don't shoot a classification match and you only shoot one match a month, that takes you half a year to get a classification, and that's a freaking long time.
I
Like
can
that,
attest to that.
that is a very long time. So, like me and you both have shot a classifier match, and that's how I got my initial classification. Um, and I'm just looking at my classification right now, and guys, classification. I'm and, and this probably sounds like stupid because I'm a C class. I'm C class in carry optics, but I don't really think classification matters because to me it's just a letter. To me, a classifier is just telling me that I'm good at shooting classifiers. So that means like reloading the gun fast, shooting the gun fast. It doesn't always really translate to match skills. I guess, and I'm not like trying to brag or sound cocky, but I feel like